Good video, huh? What we want to do now is I want you to think back to that video and think about how did cross-addiction play into it? Where did you see that? If you remember, he went into treatment. And while he was in treatment, he decided that he could smoke a little bit of marijuana. Cocaine was his problem, and marijuana wasn't. So he was able to call his friend, and he and his buddy took off down the road smoking a joint, saying, I think this rehab's going to work really fine, if you remember. That's cross-addiction. And ultimately, there are three negative things that can happen when we go back, when we begin to use some other substance. And so let's look at the negative consequences of cross-addiction. What can occur? What can happen? We come in with an addiction. We say, okay, I've got a speed problem, or I've got an alcohol problem, or I've got a cocaine problem, or I've got an opiate problem. And what we have to understand is that we have a chemical dependency problem. Our drug of choice is this. However, all of those agents that we talked about are psychoactive. They change the way we feel. And again, going back to the concept of the only reason that we use alcohol and drugs is to go from point A, discomfort, to point B, greater comfort. That's the point. And that's what the substances do in different ways for different people. So now we're going to look at, well, why would we not want you to do that? Why is that not effective? What kinds of liabilities come in the wake of a decision to use some other kind of a substance in the course of this? First, we might possibly return to the drug of choice. So the next thing you know, you're drinking, you had a couple of shots of tequila, and somebody rolls by with some really good cocaine or some speed. And you say, you know, your judgment's skewed a little bit by the alcohol. You haven't really had a problem with the alcohol, but at least it doesn't cause problems in your life directly. But you've got your judgment skewed just enough that, oh, I'm doing so well with the drinking. You know what? It would be okay to do a little bit of speed. And so there's a tendency to ultimately re-establish that addictive process of looking outside yourself to fix the way you feel. And ultimately, the goal again always is for the substance to change the way we feel. So we've just found another vehicle to do that, and that's not inclusive of recovery. So one possibility is we return to our drug